Hey there, I'm Distorting Reality, also known as Dia. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make a double-sided plane, like the example here, of a peach where she's on both sides and got different texture to make it look like she's actually flat. Now, if you haven't seen the tutorial on how to make just a single-sided plane, I would suggest checking that out first, so I'll put the link in the description. Alright, so anyway, here we've got my peach model. She is just totally unposed, just like all the other tutorials, and what I'm going to do first is just take off the undesirable parts I don't want of the mesh. So as I'm doing this, you'll see that the peach model has some extra eyelids kind of things, which are really weird, and only one of them is connected to a bone, which is this one here. So you just want to delete all the unnecessary ones and locate the one that is the true eyelid. Now this isn't true for all models. Most models will just have one set of eyelids that you can move like this, but the Odyssey models are a little weird. Alright, so I've got my model here, and the first half of this tutorial will just be making the first plane. So I'm going to run over this quite quickly if you haven't seen the tutorial already, but here I am, just putting her into place, deleting the plane, you know. And here's the important part for a double-sided plane though. Whilst in a single-sided plane you can have it anywhere, it's a priority she stays on one of the axes, one of the lines, so here will be the green line, at all times, and I'll show you why shortly. So we want to render her, so quickly we'll just grab the camera, Alt-R, Alt-G as I said in the single plane tutorial, rotate that by about 90 degrees, bring that up, let's say, I believe it was 5, and put her into place. Now I'll just pose her real quick, easy enough. I'm not going to do too much here because I want to show you how it's done. There we go. It's going to look a bit meh, but that's all I'll do tutorial. So all this stuff I've already covered in the previous tutorial. So here we go. Let me just put that up to 100%. There we go, I've got my peach. And we'll just have it like that. Let's say, just right in there. There we go, I like to make it fit. I'm a perfectionist really. So, now we've got this, where we can't render it just yet. We have to flatten it down, and this is important for a double-sided plane. So I'm going to scale it down here as thin as possible without making the textures overlap, because if I do it too thin, and then render, oh well, surprisingly it didn't show off this time, but on most models, there'll be like black artifacts, like spots and stuff that appear, because the material is overlapping with itself being so thin. So, now that I've got that, ensure that the camera is... Now this is why it was important. So if you look on my mouse here, the top and the bottom are symmetrical, the left and the right symmetrical, the amount of space on each one, that is vital. So what I'm going to do now is render it with F12 and press F3 to save, and just save it wherever you want. I've already saved mine, so press F11 to get out. What I'm going to do now is select the root bone, which should be identical to the green line here, and then rotate that, find the right axis, which is Y, rotate that by exactly 180. You can do that by pressing R when you've got the root bone selected, and pressing the Y axis, or whatever axis it may be. Here it's Y. I can tell by pressing Y then rotating around, and it doesn't matter where my mouse is, as long as I hit 180, it'll snap to that position. So now I've got her on the other end, so I can render that, and I'll just save that where I want. Now I've got both the sides rendered, that should be perfect. The thinner they are, the better, because it produces a better result. So with that saved, just press Shift-C to return the 3D cursor to center if it isn't already. When I left click around, it changes and it just irritates me. So what you're going to do is create a plane, which will now be where the 3D cursor is. Move that to the side, and what we're going to do is apply a UV map, and this was already done in the previous tutorial. Apply a material, remove the intensity, add the texture, and add your front siding one first. Now with that applied, you just want to rotate it as you see fit and scale it so she's proportional. Easy enough. And as with the previous tutorial, as you can see, a lot of the previous tutorial comes into this. A lot of this is just repeating the first time. You want to go to the Materials tab, Transparency, turn the alpha off. Go to the Textures and turn the alpha on. There you go, you got your one-sided plane. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the two-sided plane here. So, in order to do that, what we're going to do is, while selecting this, press Tab which goes into the edit mode. This can also be done by going to object mode and change it to edit mode manually. And what you want to do is press E to extrude, and you'll see you get this extra peach that kind of just pops out. Now what you want to do is make sure that it's quite not too thin, but quite thin that it's barely noticeable. So I'll say about that much is good. And now what we have here is two peaches but of the same texture. The reason why I don't want it too thin is because if you're going to do any folding or bending, then the textures kind of clip into one another. But if you're not doing any of that, you can do it as thin as you want. So now that we've got two planes essentially, it's actually technically a rectangle or cuboid, whatever you want to call it in a 3D space. To apply the back, you want to go to materials, add a new material, and then turn your intensity off. Go to textures and hit open and apply the back texture. Now when you do that, nothing is going to happen because it hasn't actually been assigned a place. So make sure you're in edit mode, and when you do, go at the bottom and here and click select face. That way you're only selecting the face and not the vertices, which are like the corner pieces. Select the bottom one, hit material 1 and hit assign. Now it's got the back, but it's also got the white again. So what you want to do is go to transparency, make sure you've got this material selected, the material that you've added, alpha, and boom. But you'll notice that there's a little peculiar, like, it looks quite strange. That's because when you rotate this around, the hands and body actually flip. So what you want to do is go into a software like Paint.net, Photoshop or something, and quickly swap this image around, just flip it horizontally, vertically, however you need to. So I'm just going to quickly do that in a quick jump cut, but that should be self-explanatory. Alright, now I've just flipped the texture of my back, so I'll select the back. You can see it easier if you hit one of these. I'm not sure. Just trying to find the one that works for you to see what the test is. Then just apply it again, and it should work. As you can see, the double-sided thing is gone. I've just noticed that our hand is the wrong way around here, but you know, I guess I've been rushing this. I mean, it would work in real life. Like, that's not impossible, so that's fine. But if you look now it's two-sided. We'll rotate this around. It's perfectly fine, and it works just like this one. Now the only reason why there appears to be a lot of rectangles on this one is because I subdivided, and that will be covered in another tutorial. So I hope this helps you on your journey to create all kinds of art that you want to. So don't stop creating, everyone.